Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that's pretty crucial in the world of crypto. Bitcoin privacy.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a big one.
It really is. And there's this sort of pervasive idea floating around that Bitcoin equals anonymity, like it's some kind of secret weapon for staying hidden.
Right.
But is that really the truth? Is it really that
Well, it's
simple?
definitely more complicated than that.
Yeah, that's what we're here to uncover today. We're going to peel back the layers and see what Bitcoin privacy really looks like in practice.
Yeah, some good practical tips coming up too.
Exactly. So to kick things off, maybe we can address the elephant in the room.
Sure.
Bitcoin's transparency. How transparent are we talking here?
Well, honestly, Bitcoin might just be the most transparent payment network out there. Every single every little bit of it gets recorded on the blockchain.
The blockchain, right.
Right, and that's that public ledger, this permanent record that anyone can access.
Okay, so no sneaking around then. Everything's out in the open.
Pretty much, yeah.
So then, how does this whole thing with Bitcoin addresses work? I hear that term thrown around a lot, but I'm not sure everyone really understands what it means for their privacy.
Yeah, so think of Bitcoin addresses like digital mailboxes, right?
Okay.
You use them to send and receive Bitcoin. Now, when you first create an address, it's like a brand new mailbox. It's fresh, no labels, nothing on it.
Pristine.
Exactly. But here's the thing. As soon as you use that address for a transaction, it's like you've suddenly slapped a big sticker on it with all your details, your history, everything. And this is where things get tricky because that address becomes what we call tainted. It's linked to you and your transactions, and it kind of stays that way.
So it's like using the same email address for everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be a real problem for privacy because if someone gets their hands on your address, they can potentially trace back all your activity.
So then using the same Bitcoin address over and over again is a huge no-no.
Pretty much. It's like broadcasting your financial diary to the entire world.
It's not ideal at all. So new address for every transaction, got it. But what about when we share our Bitcoin address publicly, like on a website or social media? Is that a risk too?
Oh, absolutely. The minute you connect your identity to your Bitcoin address in a public space, you're creating a trail that anyone can follow. Think about it this way. It's like posting your bank statement on a billboard for everyone to see.
Right. Discretion is key. Now, what about our IP addresses? Can those be linked back to Bitcoin transactions as well?
Yeah, definitely. Because Bitcoin runs on a peer-to-peer network, your IP address can get logged when you broadcast a transaction. And that creates another potential vulnerability for privacy.
So are we basically doomed to expose our entire digital footprint when we use Bitcoin? There's got to be some way to mitigate these risks, right?
There are definitely ways to be smarter about it. For example, there are tools like Tor that can help mask your IP address. Yeah, it's like this network of tunnels that obscures your online activity. It makes it way harder to trace those transactions back to you.
So it's like a cloak of anonymity.
In a way, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so Tor is one tool in the arsenal. Now, I've also heard about these things called mixing services. What's the deal with those?
So mixing services, they try to jumble up Bitcoin transactions to make it harder to figure out where they came from. But it's not a perfect solution.
How so?
Well, for one thing, their effectiveness is debatable, and there are definitely risks involved. The legal landscape around them is murky at best, and some mixing services might even be straight-up scams. Plus, they tend to be less effective with larger transactions.
So a potential solution, but not without its caveats.
Yeah.
Makes you think. But what about the future of Bitcoin privacy? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening in this space. Developers are hard at work trying to enhance Bitcoin's privacy features. For instance, we're seeing research into better payment APIs, ones that minimize that whole address contamination issue. There's also work being done on making address changing more user-friendly, like a seamless experience. And then we have things like layer 2 solutions, like the Lightning Network, which offer a good boost in privacy by moving those transactions off the main blockchain.
So the future of Bitcoin privacy isn't all doom and gloom then. It sounds like there's a lot of innovation going on.
Exactly. It's a really dynamic field with tons of potential.
All right, so for all our listeners out there, what's the key takeaway from today's deep dive?
I'd say the main thing to remember is that Bitcoin privacy doesn't just happen automatically. You got to be proactive about it. You have to really understand the tech and make a conscious effort to protect your information.
Well said. This has been a really eye-opening conversation, I have to say. And I think the big question that we all need to grapple with as Bitcoin continues to grow and evolve is, How do we balance the benefits of its transparency with that fundamental right to individual privacy?
That's the question, isn't it?
It really is. It's something we all need to think about as we navigate this increasingly digital world.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
See you then.
Bye, everyone.